Hey, how's it going? Jeff Lerner here, and today we are talking about things to do before you start your business. So if you are an entrepreneur and have a business idea, or you're wanting to become an entrepreneur, you got an idea, these are the things that you want to start with before you dive headlong into making all the changes in your life that are going to come with actually running that business. Got to make sure you have this stuff in place first. Okay, so welcome. We're talking about things to do before starting a business. I know this all too well. I've learned this the hard way because I'm 40 years old. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 16. I've never actually had a real job except for a few weeks in that summer when I was 16 years old, and I realized, oh my gosh, I am like psychologically unemployable. I can't work for someone else. I'm going to have to do my own thing. And I've spent the next 25 years starting businesses, some of them successfully, a lot of them unsuccessfully, and learning the hard way that there are certain things that I should do before I start a business to save myself a lot of time and energy and frankly, get a sense of if it's really gonna work or not before I put all my time and energy and money into figuring that out. Okay, so here's the first thing that you wanna do before you start your business is you need to be crystal clear in such a way that you could explain it 100 times to 100 different people and they would all understand it. And then if they all got together and said, well, what did he tell you? Well, this is what he told me, that it would all match up. That's the level of clarity that I'm talking about, is that if over the course of 100 days, you had 100 different conversations with people and they all asked you the same question, which is, what problem does your business solve? That those 100 different conversations over the course of 100 days to 100 different people would all result in a very similar or identical understanding about what it is that you actually do and what problem you're solving. Because if you don't, and that was an extreme way of saying be consistent and be clear, but you got to realize your message is going to fall, hopefully, if your business takes off, on thousands or tens of thousands or even millions of different sets of ears. And they all have to receive you as close to the same way as what you want them to receive as possible. Otherwise, you have muddy messaging, you have unclear messaging in the market. And if people aren't clear on what problem does this business solve, then they will have no idea why they would ever want to buy from you. Why would they want to be your customer? Get clear and write it down, and write down a lot of problems that you think you kind of solve. It's not a let me sit down and write down the answer to this question kind of a thing, unless you've done the exercise and you already know and you have that level of clarity. It's write down 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 problems that your business solves, and then ask, what's the problem behind all these problems? And then what's the problem, narrow it down. What's the problem behind those problems? Get to the core problem that your business solves. It will unlock so much speed in the development of your business as you move forward if you're already clear on that one question. And then from there, and you definitely have to do that before you do this, you want to create an executive summary. A lot of people say, oh, you're starting a business, you need a business plan. I am not of the mind that realistically most people that are starting a business are going to actually be able to create a full business plan for their business. And I'm saying that from the experience of having started, like I said, quite a few businesses, probably well over a dozen businesses at this point, and a handful of them have been really successful. But even the really successful ones, they're sort of an evolutionary process. They didn't start out exactly where they were going to end up. I could not have. I'll even use my main business now, which is called Entre, where I teach people the skills of our mission is helping others have an awesome life, and our method for that is for a lot of people becoming more entrepreneurial and creative and business-minded in their thinking. But I could not have drawn out the business plan of Entre 2.5 years ago when I started the business that became Entre. There's no way I could have done it, but I could have written an executive summary. And if I think about what would the executive summary for Entre have said? And at the time I did it. It actually started under a different name, but I did it because I was trying to enroll a couple people into helping me start it. And they're like, well, what is it? What are you talking about? And I wrote down basically an executive summary of that business. And it was crystal clear from the get-go that we're helping people have, I think at the time I used a better quality of life. I didn't hone in on the term awesome life. That kind of evolved later semantically, but helping people have a better quality of life through entrepreneurial learning. So it wasn't like, let's make everyone into an entrepreneur, but it was, let's help everyone become more entrepreneurial, because creativity, self-direction, motivation, leadership, all the things that go into good entrepreneurship typically help people level up their whole life across the board, right? Even if they're still working a job. So it was helping others have a better quality of life, which became helping others have an awesome life. And the method was through entrepreneurial learning and entrepreneurial education. And then the marketing formula was basically essentially what we still do through creation of, content, digitized sales assets, live events, one-on-one private coaching, group coaching. The methods and the marketing were pretty consistent from the get-go. So I created that executive summary, and that was such a big part of helping me attract the people to the project that I needed at the time, and helping me have consistency and clarity over the 2.5 years that I've been doing this, and hopefully the 20, 30 years that I'll continue to be doing this. That executive summary is the foundation, because an executive summary essentially is what most people read to decide if they're actually going to read the business plan. So it needs to contain only information that would also be in the business plan. It needs to be summary in nature. It needs to be conclusive in nature. It needs to, basically here are the elements of a good executive summary. It needs to essentially restate the problem that you solve or the pain point of the customer that you serve, which again, if you're not clear on what problem you solve, you can't create an executive summary. You can't build a business. You can't attract any, partners, employees, or customers if you can't explain that. So that's the first thing, is a brief statement of that. And then some background info on sort of how you discovered the problem, what is your qualification to deal with the problem, and then essentially an analysis of how your business is going to solve that problem. And then basically the set of main conclusions that you would draw about what the opportunity is, the business opportunity around solving that problem. Those are going to be the 4 elements of an executive summary. Again, basically state the problem, give your background and the background on the problem, analyze how to solve the problem, draw conclusions around the business opportunity for what it would mean for a company to solve that problem. Okay, so now that you have your executive summary, the next thing that you need to do, and this is a small thing, this is a small lever that swings a huge door, so to speak, right? It's a small thing in your mind. It's going to have a big ripple effect in your outcome. Is whatever you think your business does, redefine it as the marketing of that thing. So I coach a lot of different business owners, and my agency services lots of different small business clients and small and mid-sized businesses, SMBs we call them. And one of the things I'm constantly working with business owners on is reclassifying themselves to be a marketer of whatever service they provide. So if somebody's a plumber, they're not a plumber. They're a marketer of plumbing services. If somebody's a dentist, they're a marketer of dental services. If somebody's even a marketer, you're a marketer of marketing services. So reorient your mind that whatever problem your business solves, your role as the owner and leader of that business is to be a marketer of those services. Again, it's a small thing. It will make a huge impact on the way you conduct your business, because if you don't have your marketer hat on, if you don't have the hat on that says, okay, as I'm working through every aspect of this business, I'm bearing in mind and projecting consequences into how I create the demand for my product, how I educate the market for my product, how I agitate the demand for my product or create urgency around the demand for my product, how I actually move to the transaction of my product, how I fulfill on the promise of my product to get a good customer satisfaction rating or net promoter score so that I get referral business to create more sales. If you're not already thinking that way at every level of your business, I'm not saying your business is doomed to fail, because eventually you might stumble around and figure it out, but it'll take you a lot longer, and eventually you'll reach the same conclusion where you'll go, man, my business is struggling, how do I make it work? And you'll spend all this money to hire a consultant, and they'll basically come in and tell you, you're not thinking enough like a marketer. So just start now, take my advice, think like a marketer of those services, and you'll be on good footing as you build your business, okay? So then the next thing that you want to do before you start your business is define. And this would go into the business plan, but this doesn't constitute the whole business plan. Again, I'm suggesting that you don't have to be, and you're probably not ready to create a full business plan just on day one of setting out to do your business. But what you do need to be clear on is, what is my minimum viable product to be able to actually get to market and sell something? At least get clear on that. They call them your MVP offer. And MVP, your most valuable player. It's true. Your MVP, your most valuable thing in your business, to getting you off to a good start, is your minimum viable product. What is the smallest amount of features, benefits, costs, and required explanation that my product or service can or must contain, so that I can at least go out there, prove the concept, establish the market, start conversations, get feedback, and create an actual customer. And then like write it down, make a list, be super clear about it. Then the next thing you need to do is basically, and I coach a lot of people on this, is like a really honest and raw self-assessment. Here's how I start. I say, okay, essentially write down the organizational chart of your business. Like my business, in a perfect world, let's say you had $1 billion of investment capital, you could build the ultimate organization of your dreams to grow this business. What would you need? Well, you'd have a computer programmer, you'd have a janitor, you'd have a CEO, you'd have a marketing guy, you'd have a sales team lead, you'd have operations, you'd have administration, you'd have HR, you can get crazy with it, right? Now, put your name in all those boxes, because that's how you are on day one. And suddenly you're like, oh, okay, do I really need all these people? Okay, which are the ones you critically need? Be really, really honest. Are you even a remotely good fit for that role in this organization? Like, should you be the marketing guy? Should you be the head sales guy? Should you be the tech guy if there's any technology involved in your product? And if not, then either go get a partner. If you can, hire somebody. And if neither of those are appealing, at least be aware that you are not in the right seat on the bus, but you're there by necessity only for as long as needed. And part of your MVP is, okay, let me get minimal product to market, let me get minimal revenue coming in so that as quickly as possible I can replace myself from the seats where I really don't belong. It's just a good thing to be really, really honest with yourself about on day one. If you suck with money, don't be the CFO of your business forever. Don't make that the long-term plan, right? Replace yourself as soon as possible. And also, by the way, try not to suck with money if you're going to run a business. Okay, so then the next thing that you want to do before starting a business is find mentors. Now, a lot of people say find a mentor. Find somebody who's been successful and get them to help you and get to know them. And I honestly think that this concept of mentorship is very flawed. Because people make it like it's a realistic thing to like say, oh, go find somebody who's been wildly successful at the thing you want to do. Let's say you want to flip a house. Okay, well, go find somebody who owns, who's made $100 million flipping houses and see if they'll mentor you in the business. That guy's probably pretty busy. And frankly, if he does do private coaching, he probably charges for it. And I mean, I'm not saying that guy's all about the money. He or she might go to lunch with you one time and talk to you for 30 minutes as an act of goodwill and to pay it forward. But they're not going to make your business their business and take this vested one-on-one interest like you're their child and they're vested in your success. Like really successful people are really busy and they're really hard to pin down and really hard to come by their time. And it's unlikely that you're going to find some wildly successful person in your same space or niche who's going to mentor you. This concept of find a mentor is so unrealistic in so many cases. I didn't have a mentor when I started, digital marketing. I got on the internet, I taught myself affiliate marketing, but I had a lot of good mentors. These were people who I could follow their training, I could read their books, I could watch their videos, I could even go to live events and study them and listen to them and follow them around and try to pick up tidbits. And it's easy to find people who are successful at what you want to do, and it's easy to get access to them. It's just probably not going to be this personal one-on-one connection that a lot of people sort of act like is a possibility. And it's like, oh, find a mentor. And again, it's not a lack of benevolence or desired positive outcomes for the world, but I have people literally direct messaging me on Facebook probably every single day. I would say an average of 1 or 2 a day, asking if I'll mentor them. There's no possible way that I could mentor, and I'm not Richard Branson, I'm not Elon Musk. Imagine what it's like. But the thing is, the information's all out there. If you want me to mentor you, buy one of my training courses. I have courses out there for $20 or $30. Buy one of my courses. I pour my heart and soul into it. I give everything I have to give. Watch my YouTube videos. I'm mentoring people for free every day on YouTube. Find mentors. And what that really means is train yourself to be a really, really great, engaged learner. And then actively seek out the right people to learn from. That's all it is. But do that as a condition. Do it before you start your business. Don't start your business, realize that you're in trouble, get frustrated, get stuck, and then go try to learn as a way to problem solve. Obviously, the learning never stops, but you shouldn't have to wait till you're in trouble for the learning to start. That's my point. And then finally, and this one's a little bit maybe counterintuitive at first, but before you start your business, actually get a customer. And you're like, what? Well, how would I get a customer if I haven't started my business? It's a little bit of a play on words or a semantic trick. You're not in business until you have a customer. The starting line for your business isn't minimum viable product. It's not executive summary. It's not learning about and classifying yourself as a marketer. It's not finding good mentors to learn from. It's not writing down your organizational chart. The starting line for your business is getting a customer, actually getting money from someone, having a transaction where you now have to fulfill and deliver on your service. And this is important because I work with so many entrepreneurs who've never made a sale. You're not in business until you make a sale. You might be being entrepreneurial, but to the extent that being an entrepreneur means having a business, you don't have a business until you have a customer. And so when you think that way, again, it's kind of like defining yourself as a marketer, not as a provider of that service. When you think of yourself as like, I don't have a business unless I have a customer, and to the extent that I have a business, it's only the extent to which I have customers, you'll start to focus on more of the right things that actually drive success in business. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So that is my somewhat exhaustive list of things to do before starting your business. As you can probably tell from that list, like, whoa, starting a business isn't that easy. No, it's not. Because when you start and grow a successful business and you have all the perks that come with that, it's like the most liberatingly awesome thing in the world. And like most super awesome things, it's not available to everyone. That doesn't mean it's not available to you. It doesn't mean it's not available to anyone. It is available to anyone. It's available to anyone that'll do the work and see it through and persevere and be persistent and be a lifelong learner and work harder than most people are willing to and do all the things that it takes. But it's never going to be available to everyone. It's never going to happen. You're never going to have a 100% success rate in business. You're never going to have a 0% poverty rate in this world. You're never going to have 100% life fulfillment and financial fulfillment and relationship fulfillment. There's always going to be strata in this world. I'm sort of veering into like more philosophy and sociology, but like hear me on this. There's always going to be winners and losers. There's always going to be excellent. There's always going to be average, and there's always going to be below. But it's always going to be your choice. So if you're looking at this going, man, starting a business seems hard. Yeah, it is. That's why it's awesome when you do it well. The thing is, when you do it well and you get the rewards of doing it well, you'll deserve it because it was hard. So get excited about that, all right? Hey, if you like this kind of content and you're stoked on having an awesome life and you want to learn more about how to do that, subscribe to my channel. Click the bell when you subscribe so that make sure to get notifications of new videos, and I'll keep this stuff coming to you. Thanks for your time. I'll catch you on the next one.